So good morning, everyone. My name's David Peake. I'm the product manager for Application Express. And before we get started, actually, I'm just kidding. I would actually like everyone to stand up and just put their hands up in the air. And who said the Germans wouldn't cooperate with me? Who said that? Thank you very much. So today I'm going to be talking about new features in Application Express 5.1. How many people here are currently using Application Express 5 in production? Good to see. Of those people, how many are using the universal theme? Even better. How many people are using 4.2? Okay. 4.1, 4.0, 3.2. Seriously? Wow. You know 3.2 isn't supported anymore. Just saying. So today we're talking about new features in 5.1. There are other sessions, as Mike showed, on some of these new features, so I'm not going to cover them in depth, but I will be showing some of them, some of the ones that we've got that I'm allowed to talk about. Other ones I'm not, apparently. So my name's David Peake, as I said. I'm Senior Product Manager. I've been with Oracle a long time. I actually started in Oracle Consulting back in Australia, then I moved to New Zealand, and I now live in the US. I've been there for a number of years. In fact, I've been naturalized, and I'm now a US citizen. So this is a US accent, just in case you're wondering, and I'm based in Denver, Colorado. So obviously, today's session is all about new product, which has not yet been released. So I need to provide my safe harbor statement, which basically means that I can tell you whatever I like and you can't hold me accountable. And also that my demos may or may not work and you still can't hold me accountable. So I'd like to talk about a little box. You may have seen it before. And the first thing I'm going to be covering off is productivity improvements. So for those of you who are already utilizing 5.0, one of our key objectives with 5.0 was to make it more productive and easier for new developers to learn Application Express. With 5.1, we're looking to improve that yet further. We're also looking to show you improvements with the theming, and that's why it's important, as soon as you can, when you move to 5.0, then you can keep your applications in their existing theme. However, if you can move to the universal theme, then with 5.1, you're not going to have to move to another theme. Instead, what we're going to allow you to do is to upgrade the universal theme to take on the new features. Another one is charting. So, how many of you were in Mike's keynote? A few of you? Good to see. Means you weren't partying too hard last night. With our charting engine, we've gone through a number of different charting engines over the years, and we're very excited about the new charting engine that we're bringing in with 5.1. And then finally, we've got the interactive grids. And there's a session specifically on interactive grids by Patrick Wolf, who's one of the main developers of that feature, so I can't talk too much about it, otherwise I'll get in trouble from him. And you don't want to be in trouble from Patrick, just saying. So let's look at productivity. Some of the things we're looking to do is wizard simplification. So when you're building an application, initially you'll build a couple of pages and then you'll go and work with the users and you'll invariably need to add more and more pages to your applications. Our wizards are rather complex. There's a number of different options that are available. And we decided to bite the bullet for 5.1 and do a lot of redevelopment with them. We've actually taken a lot of time to make sure that they're as consistent as possible and that we default as much as possible. So we realized that a lot of screens, people would simply just keep clicking next because they just took the default parameters. So therefore, why would we have an extra step that they have to go through? So first of all, I'm just going to show you the Create Form wizard. Now, bear with me while I go through these steps. So first of all, you click on Create Page. Then that's step one. Then you go and you do something. You select what sort of form. Then you go and select the table. Then you go and you put in some names, then you put in a region title, you go next, you select the whatever that one was, then you select the columns, and then, yeah, obviously I normally do it about twice as quickly as this because I'm very quick with my mouse. But that was a total of 15 steps. So now, let's have a look at what it looks like in 5.1. Oh, sorry. In case you couldn't see the big 15 coming up, we tell you how many steps it was. So in 5.1, then it goes through, and I don't have to talk quite as quickly. Well, actually, yeah, I do. But there's a total of 11 different steps that it goes through. 4 steps doesn't seem like that much. But the important thing is it's much simpler for you to do it, and every time you do it, it'll be quicker. So let's look at the next one. In case you have problems with mathematics, that was how many steps shorter? And so let's look at the Create Form and Report wizard. Now, if we have a look at the old wizard, we used to ask you about the report. We'd have you put in the form name, we'd have you go and select everything for that report and everything else. And then after that, when we get to about step 8 or 9, I think it is, in fact 10, now we're starting to ask you more about the form page. And you have to go and put in names again and select columns and all that sort of thing. And eventually you get to the end after a whole 17 different steps. Once again, we tell you the number of steps. So with 5.1, we've changed the way that we do it. We ask you for all the page details, up front. So we ask you for the name of the report page and the form page. We do everything in the same order as well. So what I'm going to do is actually just jump across and show you. I'm just going to go into my browser here, and I'll just pick an application. I don't care which one it is. And I'm just going to go and create page. You'll notice that we've got nicer, cleaner icons. Ooh. And I'm just going to click on a report. And we've got interactive grid, interactive report. Let's just go and pick interactive report, something people know and love. Once you've gone through this, the next step in our wizards is always providing the page number, the page name, what sort of page mode it is, that sort of thing. And we no longer default any of the names, so you must put in a name. So I'll call this one DOAG. Go next. The next step in our wizard is always your navigation. So how are you actually going to do the navigation? Are you going to have no menu option, create a new one, or identify an existing one? So you'll see that it is actually pulling in that same name. We'll go next. Now, I am actually running this on across VPN back to the US, so I apologize in advance if my performance isn't as snappy as I'd like it to be. But the third step is simply go and select a table. I don't even care which one it is. And then, boom, I'm done. So it's a lot simpler. There's a lot less choices I have to make up front. With 5.0 and 5.1 with the page designer, it's very quick and easy to go in after you've generated that page and change anything specific you want. So our whole objective is to be consistent and make it as short and painless as possible for you to create a new page. Sorry. I couldn't resist. Hang on a minute. I've just got to go and do my pose on the table. Okay, I'm good now. I hate doing this, by the way. Can you tell? So let's go back in. Let's go back into play mode and see if I can. Okay, I've already seen that. We can move now. Oh, okay. So the next thing that we introduced was the component view inside of Page Designer. So how many people here still utilize component view? So let me tell you a little story about when we were building out the tree view for the first time, then our objective was to actually replace the component view with the tree view. However, there's one particular person in our organisation, and his name happens to be Mike Hitchwa, who only ever uses the component view. As a consequence, the component view stayed around. And as you saw, there's only a small percentage of people who like the component view. Those of you who can't change with the times and utilize the tree view, we understand. So we've done something for you. What we've done, if I get out of here again and go back over to my browser, if I go into any one of these pages, then you'll see in this middle section here that we have the component view. And so now I can see the same component view that I used to love many, many years ago before I learnt the tree view. And I can still go and click on any of these components here. The important thing is that when you click on anything in the component view, it's still utilizing the property editor in the right-hand panel here. And that's very important for us because the component view signifies a lot of pages. The other thing you'll notice is in my menu toolbar here, I don't have a component view option. Okay? If I really want to get it back, then I can go into Preferences and enable Legacy. Notice the word Legacy, component view, just saying. And if I apply that, then I can possibly, I think I actually need to refresh my page. Now I get the old component view available. The big difference between the old component view and the new one is whenever I click on anything in this component view, it's bringing up an additional page. And so we've got a lot of pages specifically for component view. And you'll notice I actually selected inadvertently an interactive grid. What's the one thing you notice about interactive grids and component view? They don't go together. I'd have to actually go and select a different component for it to actually work. So I went to the region definitions, that's fine in there. If I go back, let me say go and pick, oh, these are all, okay, I'll pick a breadcrumb. So it'll actually bring up the breadcrumb page, for example. So get me out of here. Okay. So for those of you who love the component view, it is still there, but it doesn't cover all of the capabilities, such as interactive grids. However, if I'm in here and I select interactive grid, you'll see that it is actually taking it. So I can go through that technique. So, for those of you who like component view, do you think you will be able to live with the page designer with component view in the middle? Yes? Probably just as well. Because we're not going to give you, we will, as I said, we're going to keep the old component view, but we much prefer that you utilize the one built in. So now I'm going to do a demonstration, or not. And so for us, I think there's a lot of work gone into the wizard simplification. And it's mainly because of the fact a lot of those options that'll be like, oh, why am I getting asked this? Click, 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 click. Therefore, let's make it get you to the pages and regions and what have you as quickly as possible. Page designer component view, I think, is also very important. The next major section is theming. So Shakiv Rahman has 2 sessions, and he'll be talking about a lot of this, so I can't go into too much depth. One of the things that we have had support for in a limited fashion before is right-to-left support. So we've got a number of customers that build applications in languages that are right-to-left, such as Hebrew, Japanese, other languages, and some of our components just didn't work properly. So it's been very important for us to go through and ensure that all of our components have right-to-left capabilities. Out of curiosity, how many people here build multilingual applications? I would have thought quite a lot of you, because of the fact you'd build German and, say English. Another thing that we're working on is new theme styles. So one of the best aspects, I think, of the universal theme, well, there's many of them, is the ability to create your own theme style. We're going to be putting out additional theme styles out of the box. New templates and options. So with previous releases, with each new release, we used to add in a number of different templates. And we'd in fact add new themes. But primarily the themes were, you'd have a blues theme, a green theme, a red theme, or what have you. There were some themes that had different characteristics. And if you happen to select one, and then you want something from one of the other ones, then it was actually quite complex to be able to do so. Or you ended up having to change themes. The fact that we standardized on a single theme, being the universal theme for 5.0, has made things a lot easier for you as developers because you've got a single choice. However, we've actually gone and made it much easier by including the necessary templates in 5.0. In 5.1, we're extending that out and including some additional templates that we found people will commonly use. And then, of course, the template options. So, I think that was one of the big productivity gains with 5.0 was the template options. Instead of having to go and select a new template and then go and play with it or add some special CSS class or what have you to get the sort of layout you want, being able to just select the template options really made it a lot easier for developers to build better applications and nicer looking applications. As Mike said before, in 5.0 we had Font Awesome, and what we've done is actually gone and rebuilt those icons. And in fact, I'll show you those very shortly. And then we've also done a number of bug improvements and, general improvements and bug fixes, some of the things that have been reported for 5.0. But I think one of the best new features of 5.1 is live template options. And so let me go and show you that. So let me just go over to my browser. Let's see if I've still got that. Oh, I don't have that window open. Okay. So I'm simply in an application here, and I'm going to click on this just because it's a quick and easy way for me to get at some of the icons. And I'm just selecting one of these. And these are utilizing the Font Awesome ones. So this is not a good choice of application. We haven't actually switched this one over, so let me go back to my application builder and I'll pull up the sample charts. So this is the sample charts packaged application straight out of the packaged apps directory. And let me just go into shared components here and lists, say charts, and I'll click on one of these. And you'll see up the top here that it's actually using Font Apex. And you'll see that we've got quite a collection of icons in here. So what we've done is utilize the icons from Font Awesome, but then we've also extended it out. For example, Font Awesome never had one like these with the database. Ooh. There's a database plus, a database with a pencil, a database with a little magnifying glass. You could have little database icons right across your applications. No, but in all seriousness, you'll have to ask Shakib, but these icons are significantly better for some great reasons. Just don't ask me because I'm not that person that can tell you that. But what I can do is I'm just going to run this application. And let me go and log in. And I'm just going to go to the home page. So on the home page, we have a list region. How many people have created list regions? Right? Only a few. It's a really nice way to present data. So at the moment, I've got it looking like this. I'm just going to simply click on Quick Edit, And then up in the corner here, you'll see this little spanner. And so I'm going to click right up in the top right-hand corner here. I'm going to click on that. And that wasn't what I wanted to do. Let me try that one more time. Quick edit. No, that one. Oh, that's better. So now I've got live template options and I can move this around. And so I can change things on the fly. So for example, I might want basic. It's like, it's a bit boring. Let's try compact. Well, that's pretty cool, but there's too many. So, in fact, there's not enough. Let me change it to 5 columns. Well, that's better. Okay, I don't mind that. Body text. So let's go auto, see what happens. Ooh, yeah, that's not looking very good. Okay, so let me give it, say, 4 lines. Oh, that's pretty cool. I can go and change the icons. I want no icons. Boring. Let's go and show the icons again. And let's go back to featured. Oh, hang on a minute. I think that looks good. I'm good with that. Now I save it. So what I did was I went and played in exactly the same way you can in 5.0. So in 5.0, I could have gone into edit page 1, and for each one of those changes, then I could have gone into here, in fact, into the attributes, and gone in here, selected a different icon, so no icons, I want compact, let's see what that looks like. So I click OK, I run it, I try again, yeah, no, go back in, I go back over to here, I click it again, I didn't want, yeah, let's put it to, yeah, let's leave it as compact, put the icons back in, let's try float, see what that one looks like. I don't know what that one looks like. So let's play, and it was a continual process. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it's in and out, in and out, in and out. And half the time you're guessing. And you've got a lot of different options there, and we're introducing more options. So, ouch. Yeah. So, yeah, it's so much easier to just come in once you can get it to go to the right one. Thank you. Go back to my list, and what did I select? Float. Oh, span horizontally. That's got to be better. Oh, perfect. I'm done. Right? I can see by just looking at this that is exactly the way I want it to be. Isn't that easy to read? But it's so much quicker and easier that you will find it's even quicker and easier to build good-looking applications that the users will be happy to use. So one of the things is that business applications used to be very business-like, very Germanic, you might even say. And, it didn't really matter about color. It didn't really matter about how you laid things out. It was all about the content. However, over the years, business has been using the internet. And their most user experience of the internet is very different from when they go to work and they're supposed to not be on the internet. And as a consequence, end users are demanding beautiful, responsive, accessible applications from their business applications. And I think that these sort of enhancements will make it much easier and allow you to build much better business applications that your end users will love. And we've actually seen some studies done where you can take an application that has exactly the same functionality but an ugly user interface, and the end users will not like it nearly as much. They will complain a lot more. They will use it because they have to. However, if you build beautiful applications, they will use it because they want to. And that's a much better thing. I've got to watch my time. I bet you there's another slide that says demo. Told you. And hey, look, there's a little video of doing this. We'll go straight past that one. So, right to left support, new theme styles. new templates and options. So the live template options will be even more important because you'll have even more switches to turn on and off and play with. One of the things that I think is important as well is that you try and have consistency and that your screens have a level of cohesion between them. So you don't have every developer choosing very different options as they're going through. So another very big feature in 5.1 is Jet Charts. So it's based on Oracle Jet data visualizations. And to be honest with you, it's a very good engine. We've struggled with our charting engines over the years. One of the things you would have seen in 5.0 is all the D3 charts that we introduced in our packaged applications. And the reason we did that was to actually have visually appealing charts available as part of Application Express. With the Jet charts, that's no longer necessary. They're declarative. They're highly customizable. So for those people who have non-standard requirements, they can easily be customized. They're also accessible. And for us, accessibility is very important. How many people work for a government department? Just a couple. How many people think accessibility is important? Why isn't everyone putting their hand up? I mean, one of the things is you're building an application that's running on a web browser, okay? And do you happen to personally know every one of your end users? And the answer is no. So do you know if any of your end users have accessibility issues? Do they have site problems? Do they have some sort of color problems? Do they have to use a voice recognition system, like JAWS or something like that? And the answer to that is you have no idea. And so therefore, every developer should be concerned about accessibility and building accessible applications. Then also it's responsive. So with our applications, it's very important that you can run the same application on any device and all of the components respond accordingly. And so the responsiveness was very important to us with the charting. Okay, so time for a demo. So I'm just going to quickly change this because I can't read any of those. Sorry. And go over to my list. I actually will we'll use 4 columns. 4 columns is about right. Oh, let's put it back to featured. There we go. I like that one. So we have a number of built-in visualizations available. Now, these are not every visualization that's available through Jet Charts. These are all the ones that we've made available declaratively in Application Express. Now, the Jet engine is open source. You're free to actually go and utilize any of the other visualizations that you choose to. However, you will be doing it yourself rather than declarative like these ones. So some of the nice features is as I'm scrolling around, you'll see that it's actually showing little periods for the selection and showing a little box of them. Other things I really like is the fact that I can unclick a particular part and it actually just changes the layout of the display to show what's left over. We can have them stacked or unstacked. Now, if we have a look at this one, we can change the line types from straight to curved. Ooh. It's very nice. Or stepped. Okay. Or centered segment. Personally, I like curved. I think more graphs should be curved. But that's just me. And then we can do multiple different axes. So we've got this average budget here. And as I'm highlighting each one, you'll see over in the legend that it's actually highlighting what I've got selected. So if I go down here and, if I go up the top, as I'm on it's not doing it on these ones. And the reason it's not doing it is because of the attributes that we've got defined. Let me go and show you the bar chart. So this bar chart is great. If I actually go and make the screen much smaller, I'm showing this on an iPad, guess what? It's responding. So now I can still see the information. I can do things like stack and unstack these as I need to. I'm showing multiple different series. There's just a lot of really good capabilities built into these. I can do combinations. So let me go back out. I can do various combinations of bar charts, line charts, areas, and those sorts of things. Line charts. So we've got some choices if I go down here. So here's, let me see, where are we? Yep. I can show that, come on, change for me. I can change the orientation of it. If I go to line with area, then it's lines with an area. Pretty self-explanatory. With our pie charts, you know, the same sort of things that are available previously where you can have them pop out. We've also got an other section where you can put a certain percentage and all of those will go into the other, which is really nice. We can do donuts. I'm not going to go through all of these. Stock. So if ever you need to build a stock chart, well, it's now a built-in capability. And as you go along, it's showing you the highs, the lows, the opens, the close. Just a nice built-in capability. Polar charts. So this is a new one for us, where you can build polar charts. Now, apparently some people really like these. I can see some use cases where this is a really good visualization. Another one is radar. So it's the same sort of thing, but using little boxes to show the different values as a, here we've got store A, store C, etc. And as I'm highlighting each one, you'll see that it's dimming the other ones as I hover over them. You can also do bubbles. So you could do little bubble charts, you can do different colored bubbles. This one's actually a D3 plugin. Now, when it comes to our Gantt charts is still using AnyChart. And the reason for that is jet visualizations don't include a Gantt chart and also don't include maps. And so we're still including the AnyCharts specifically for the Gantts and the maps. How many people here have built Gantt charts in their applications? Okay, interesting. And then we've got things like tree maps, which are again using a plugin. So one of the great things, I'm just going to go in, and I'm going to go into my application, and I'm just going to create a page, and I'll just create a blank page. And I'll call this DOAG. And it can be a normal page, don't care about breadcrumbs. Yeah, I'll give it a new navigation entry, and I'm done. So I've got this nice, shiny new page with nothing on it. And I'm just going to go back to layout here. And if we have a look down the bottom here, I have chart. I do have a number of plugins that we've still utilized that in time we will probably get rid of. The other thing I'm just looking for where they've hidden it today. Okay, so I can show legacy components. And if I show legacy components, then I'll get things like my legacy calendar and my legacy AnyCharts. So I can actually go and drag one of those up. I don't want to do that. I'm actually going to go and uncheck that. So I'm just going to go and drag a chart up into the content body. And unlike previous charts where you had to do very specific SQL, with these ones, you can just put in select asterisk from emp. And that's fine. It doesn't need the very specific SQL. Instead, what I do is I can select my label. I said I can select my label. Oh, look at that. That's really small. So my label might be, for example, depno. In fact, I will select job. And then my value can be salary. And this probably isn't going to be the best of charts. Hang on a minute. Let me just go back for a second. Painful thing. Sorry, when it zooms in like that, for the life of me, I'm new to the Mac. I do not know how to get it back down. Somebody can come up afterwards and show me. I'd be forever grateful. So let me just go and drag this in again. Call it amp. I'll go down to my chart. Select asterisk from amp. What did I say? Job. Sal. And one of the things is, if I go and look at the attributes, you'll see that I can do things like turn on or off the stacking, the orientation, the height components, what I want the cursor to be. There's a lot of options that are built in here, including things like tooltips and legends that you'd expect. If I go down to each of the axes, then I can actually start specifying names and everything for those. Let's just go and play and see what it looks like. So now I've got groupings here, and I'm like, oh, well, that's not very good. So I'd actually go in and probably do, change it from a select asterisk to actually go and do a, select job and then count or sum of the salary as an alternative to that, which you can do very quickly and easily. And you can easily add any number of series to these. So, I'm not going to bore you with going and putting in a SQL and what have you. Understand it's just very easy to do. So, the jet charts have a lot of advantages over the any charts. They also have a number of advantages over the D3 charts that we were using in 5.0. And, from our perspective, there's a development team within Oracle that are working heavily on these, that are bringing out new releases regularly, and incorporating, new visualizations, and you can readily start integrating those into your applications. So the last section is interactive grid. So when I first started, much like Mike Itchua, I started with Oracle Forms. He started with Forms 2. Mine was a bit later. I started in Forms 2.3 and Oracle Database 5, which is why I've got the grey hair. And one of the most common constructs was master detail pages. And that was very common because of the way that Oracle Forms wanted you to actually develop out these pages. How many people here are old Oracle Forms developers? How many people here are new for Oracle Forms developers? Okay, just trick question, that one. No, there are some. So, I've been product manager now for almost 10 years. And one of the first things when I came in was I said, we need this, master detail. Before we could actually do our master detail, we needed to actually be able to build a white screen. It's a very impressive white screen, I will add. Okay, there we go. We needed to build a new component so that we could have multiple grids on a page. So our Tabular Forms was released way back when in 2.2 or something, so many years ago, and it didn't allow us to have multiple of those same regions on one page. And so we had to build up a brand new component. We took the lessons learned from our interactive reports and built our interactive grids. And that's our new multi-row edit component. It allows any number of detail records, any number of parent-child, grandchild type of relationships, so you can go down as deep as you like, as cross as far as you like. We really don't care. And you can do them all on one page. The other key thing for us was to incorporate plugin support. So how many people here have utilized Tabular Forms? Okay, well, the majority of you. Can somebody give me an example of a tabular form on the internet, other than in Apex? Generally, you only use those constructs for things like a list of checkboxes, for preferences and things like that. But your general user experience is not to use a multi-row edit. And so one of the things that I actually am concerned about with the interactive grid, especially for you guys that used to be forms developers, or still are forms developers, is you will overuse them when you shouldn't. I'm still a very big believer in having a report and then a form. And the main reason for that is users generally work on a single record at a time. If they've got a customer calling them up, then it's one customer. And they query about one order at a time. They don't say, oh, hi, I've made 5 orders and I'd like to change all 5 of them to be delivered on this date. That's quite rare. Instead, the customer's going to ring up and say, hi, I created this order and I ordered 3 of these and now I need 5 of them. So how many records do you need to deal with? Single record. That's a more common use case. There are certain use cases, though, where I believe these interactive grids will be invaluable. Certainly for things like master detail, where it's appropriate, then they will be very useful. But just, think about what your users are doing and whether they're generally... Hang on a minute. Sorry. Oh, the bad light. I've got to get away from the light. Whether generally they would be better with a report and form or an interactive grid. Just because you can doesn't mean you always should, is the warning I want to give you on these. Upgrade wizard. Now, see my session at 3. Sorry, I forgot to update that slide. Guilty. I am going to show you a very brief demo because there's a full session that Patrick Wolf's giving. So let me just go back.
3 minutes remaining.
3 minutes remaining. I'm going to give you a 2-minute demonstration. That's taken up 30 seconds of my 2 minutes. So, isn't this great? There's your interactive grids. Says a lot. No, in fact, I'm going to go into this one. This one's actually just based on select asterisks from all user objects, and you can see that I can do scrolling on the page. And every time I hit about 100 records, you'll see that it's got a little wait icon. Really nice feature. I'm going to go into editable customers. Now, this is one of the use cases where it might be appropriate to do multiple grids. So I select a customer. Great customer. Let's see if we pick another one. Oh, great. Great demonstration. Now, I haven't got error forbidden. Mr. Wolf, if he'd said for Builtin, I would have known that it was him, but he's trying to hide. I actually must give him a bit of a heads up. It looks like my demonstration of this isn't going to work nearly as well as I thought it would. Huh? It is very short. In fact, a little too short. So let me try this one. Still for Builtin. So you'll have to hope that Patrick can get this working between now and then. But if you have any questions, I'm going to be around all day. Thank you very much for attending, and I hope you enjoyed this session. And I finished on time.